Hey guys, what's going on? James here, and in this video today, we're going to be taking a look at Pewter Report's 2024 Mock Draft 1.0 for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, I know it is a 7-round mock draft. I'm only going to be looking at the first round draft selection. If you guys do want to go read the rest of our article from our friend Scott Reynolds over there at Pewter Report, go check out the remainder of the article. But I'm just going to be analyzing the first round draft pick made here by Scott. And you take a look at the needs, and yeah, it's pretty standard, pretty on par for what the Bucs needs are right now. Outside linebackers there, interior offensive line, strong safety, you have tight end, which, kind of on the fence about that one. You have running back in there as well. I would argue that wide receiver is a low-key need on there that could be considered, maybe defensive line as well. But those are the needs. Let's go ahead and dive into the Buccaneers draft picks here, starting off with the first round pick, or I guess I should say doing the first round pick, because we're not doing the other 6 rounds besides this first round pick, which is Chris Braswell, round 1, outside edge rushing linebacker out of Alabama. 6'3", 255 pounds, according to Pewter Report. And fun fact, this is the guy that I had in my Buccaneers mock draft 1.0. And you take a look at Braswell and what he has done so far at this point in his collegiate career, and it's pretty good, right? I think that Chris Braswell is a guy that has showcased a lot of good ability. He, of course, played at Alabama, a fantastic school that is very notable. They're always in the playoff conversations. They are always having to play big games. I feel like that is a lot of good beneficial things for Braswell here coming into the NFL. Now, Pro Sports Reference has him at 6'3", 220, but it seems like he has bulked up to 6'3", 255. That's great. You love to see that. You take a look at his overall stats, and he didn't get much playing time in his first 3 years in college football. He was getting a little bit of some time in 2021 and in 2022, but of course things really ramped up in 2023, his senior year. He had 42 total tackles. He had 10.5 sacks. He had 8 sacks on the year, 10.5 tackles for loss, I should say. 1 interception that was returned for a pick 6. What you see here is a lot of versatility, a lot of athleticism to be able to stop the run, to be able to get after the passer, to be able to maybe get an interception and, hey, maybe even take it to the house if you need to. He played in all of Alabama's games this year, 14 total, and is just a very versatile defender that I think can do a lot of good different things. Again, the size of 6'3", 255 is a good size, in my opinion, for a 3-4 outside linebacker, an edge rusher, a guy who can really get after it, can really be able to, do a lot of different types of things. The Bucs are expected to release veteran edge rusher Shaq Barrett. We may have to talk about that in a separate video, according to Scott Reynolds here. I don't know. We'll have to take a look at that. But point being, though, is that the Bucs do have a need at outside edge rushing linebacker. Jotran Shawinka is entering a contract year, hasn't really lived up to expectations. Yaya Diaby's great, and I think the Buccaneers would and should add somebody in free agency, but you're going to need more long-term guys. You have Yaya Diaby there. Adding a guy like Chris Braswell would add another guy. Taking a look at the Bleacher Report, scouting report for Chris Braswell, again, the size is there. The overall athleticism is there. Great size, good speed. With modern day pass rushers, you see that, right? You see all the different types of athleticism. Folks, I'm going to be honest. I feel like every edge rusher is uber athletic in today's society, in today's sport. It's just the way things are. You don't have a lot of just big powerhouse guys. You have guys that are just as strong and just as fast as everybody else. So, having different traits, having different abilities like size, again, 6'3", 255 is what gives Chris Braswell an edge over potentially other guys. Now, no major injuries. That's awesome. Playing in big-time games for Alabama, that is awesome as well. And you get to the comparison here. I don't know if I agree with Matt Holder of Bleacher Report's listing here of him being a 4th-round guy. But the comparison here is Joseph Asai, and that's an interesting comparison. You take a look at Joseph Asai, 6'4", 263, great size, has not been able to play too much so far up to his time in the NFL. He went to school. He was the 3rd-round pick in the 2021 NFL draft, but we don't have a college here. He is from Nigeria, so shout out Nigeria. That's pretty cool. But, oh, sorry, he went to Texas. Apologies. But you take a look at Joseph Ossai and what he's done in the NFL so far up to this point. Hasn't really had a ton of opportunities as a full-time starter. 3.5 sacks in year 1, 1 in year 2 for 4.5 in 2 years. Whenever he was playing at Texas, you had a guy who was going pretty crazy. 5 sacks in his sophomore year, 5.5 sacks in his senior year. He had, 29 tackles for loss in those 2 years as well. We haven't seen that potential from Joseph Ossai yet in the NFL, but very comparable and similar production college-wise between Chris Braswell's final year in college and Joseph Ossai in his final 2 years in college. He was also a one-time American. Chris Braswell was, or I guess I should say Joseph Ossai was. For Chris Braswell, he was a one-time 2023 second-team All-SEC. So, I like getting guys from big schools. People may be against that, but it definitely is the best way to prepare guys for NFL play, to get guys NFL ready. For Chris Braswell, he's in one of the top organizations in college football history in Alabama. I don't have to tell you guys that. You guys already know that. I mean, Alabama is fantastic every year. Nick Saban is the GOAT of college football for a reason. It's because he gets those guys NFL ready. I wouldn't mind at all if the Tampa Bay Buccaneers decided to dive into that pile, to dive into that list. He was 3rd on the team in tackles for loss with 10.5. He was 2nd on the team in sacks behind Dallas Turner, who I don't believe is going to be going to the draft this year. Maybe he will. I don't know. He'd be an interesting guy, but it also seems like he's not going to be available at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers selection. He may be going way, or I do believe he would be going way earlier if he is in the draft. So point being, though, is that Braswell was one of the top guys on an incredibly good Alabama defense and is a guy that is warranted a 1st-round draft pick in my selection and could be a contributor right away for the Bucs. I really, really do believe that. So I like the pick from Scott Reynolds. Of course, it was the guy who I had in my mock draft 1.0 for the Bucs, so I'm always going to, hey, me and Scott think alike. I don't know. You guys tell me. Also, yes, Dallas Turner is expected to be a top 15 pick in this year's draft, but Braswell, interesting guy, really good player, and could be a very strong number 3 pass rusher in my opinion. I still want to see the Bucs go for a premier pass rusher in free agency. I think Yaya Diaby is a phenomenal number 2, maybe a fringe number 1 depending on how well he develops this offseason. Braswell, get him in there, rotate him in with Yaya with a possibly a strong free agent addition. You have a pretty intense, powerful outside edge rushing pass rush rotation that Todd Bowles, I think, could take massive advantage of. But what do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts and opinions about this down in the comments section below. Again, go check out the rest of Scott Reynolds' mock draft. It will be on pewterreport.com. Definitely go check it out. I only wanted to look at the 1st-round draft pick because I wanted you guys to go take a look at the rest of the article. So again, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hope y'all enjoyed. As always, guys, I'll see you all in the next video or the next live stream. But until then, and as always, guys, goodbye for now, and go Bucs.